What's up guys, Tenzin here with another video, and today we're going to talk about why you should become a web developer. So since you clicked on this video, you probably have an idea of what a web developer does or what web development is in general. But if you didn't know, okay, if you have no idea what it is and you just clicked on my video randomly by chance, you just saw it and you're like, that's a cool thumbnail and that's a cool guy, so you clicked on it. Well, let me fill you in. A web developer is a programmer who specializes in coding mainly for the web. Okay, so somebody who creates websites and web apps. And that's all it is. And now that you know what a web developer is, let's move on with the video. So here are my top 5 reasons for why you should become a web developer. First reason is money. So a lot of people actually avoid talking about this topic first. There's a whole negative stigma behind the topic of money and people usually like to avoid it. But I just want to get it out of the way, okay? Yeah, out of the way. So we all like money, we all need money. More money is more security, more freedom, and more time, and everybody needs to make a living somehow. And web development just happens to be one of the most lucrative careers. The national average salary of a web developer is around $87,000. Now that fluctuates depending on where you live. For example, if you live in Chicago like me, the average is around $78,000. But if you live somewhere in California, the tech hub, that's where the Silicon Valley is, and a lot of the largest companies in the world started from there. So the salary there, a lot of developers just start from like 100 grand. And it's not so uncommon to see a lot of developers making close to $200,000 there. I've heard tons and tons of stories about people making close to $200,000, some even above that. I actually read a story about 3 days ago about this guy, Hasib Qureshi, and he's making about $250,000 at Airbnb. Damn! And he didn't even have like whole lot of experience. He just had like 2 or 3 years of experience and he's making $250,000, so that's pretty impressive. So enough of the money talk, let's move on to reason 2, which is you don't need a college degree. Okay, so look, if you're going into law, you need to go to college, you need to go to law school, and then you get to be a lawyer. If you're going into medical field, you need to go to college again, you need to go to 4 years of med, 3 years of residencies, and then you get to practice as a doctor. I think that's how it works. But when it comes to web development and programming in general, college is not an absolute necessity, okay? It's an option you can take. But in this day and age, thanks to the internet, you can learn pretty much anything that you need to learn to become a developer online. There are MOOCs, massive open source online courses. I think that's what it stands for. There are MOOCs, there are tutorials, there's YouTube. There's so many things on YouTube that you can learn. There are tons and tons of resources online like Udacity, Coursera, MIT, Free Code Camp, Code Academy. So there are so many websites where you can learn coding. And you can also join coding boot camps. And if you don't know what a coding boot camp is, well, a coding boot camp is a technical training program that teaches the parts of programming with the biggest impact and relevance to current market needs. So that's what a coding bootcamp is. And I know so many bootcamp graduates who's gotten jobs at really big companies making big bucks. Okay, so you have options when it comes to web development. You don't necessarily have to go to college to get that education. A lot of people actually, this is a very controversial topic, and a lot of people who went to colleges, they don't like hearing that because, you know, they feel like they went to college for nothing, right? And I'm not saying that you should drop out of college or anything like that. If you want to go to college and get that degree, you should go get it because it'll always be a plus when it comes to applying for jobs and things like that. But all I'm saying here is that you have options in this industry because companies care more about what you can do rather than what credentials you have from this X university or college. So if you have the skills, you can pay the bills. Third reason is there's an abundance of jobs out there. You'll never have to worry about not getting a job. There's a huge shortage of quality developers in this industry. According to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, by 2020, an estimated 1 million computer programming jobs in the US will go unfilled. 1 million! How crazy is that? That's 1 with 6 zeros. So you'll never have to worry about that. There are plenty of jobs out there. And as our world keeps progressing and the technology keeps advancing and moving forward, more and more things get computerized. So online education replacing professors in schools, legal software replacing lawyers and accountants. So the bottom line is there will always be a high demand for developers and programmers for a very long time. Fourth reason, this one gets me excited. You get to be your own boss, okay? Let's say you don't want to work for a company. Well, you don't have to. You can be your own boss. Let's say you want to start your own web development agency or just freelance. You can do that. Finally, you get to sleep in. You don't have to wake up at 7 a.m., get ready by 8, leave, drive for an hour in that rush hour traffic, half the time worrying about you being late, right? So you don't have to do that. You can work when you want to, how you want to, what you want to work on, and all that. One of my favorite things about freelancing is that you get to work on really creative things. If you don't want to work on a project that seems boring or doesn't resonate with you, you don't have to, right? You can pick what projects you want to work on. You can pick what kind of people you want to work with. So you can really let that creativity flow. And you don't even need an office. All you need is your laptop and you, and that's it. You can just go to Starbucks and just code all day. That's what I did for a long time, right? I would just go to Starbucks, get a grande iced mocha with whip iced, and just code all day, right? Work on projects. And then sometimes I would go to Dunkin', sometimes I would go to Starbucks, sometimes I would just get a Red Bull and just go to the library, right? So you can pick where you want to go. So everywhere is your office as long as you have internet and there's a table and a charger, and that's it. And lastly, which is my favorite reason, it is super duper fun. Here's the thing, there are a few things that I absolutely love doing. Hanging out with friends and doing crazy things, crazy exciting new things is one. Eating delicious food is another one, and they gotta be spicy, by the way, very spicy, extra hot spicy, yeah, like crazy spicy. It's gotta break the Scoville scale. And I love drinking my Red Bull, Monster, or coffee and just code away for hours and hours and hours. One thing about web development and programming in general is that you will never be bored. There will always be new things to learn. There will always be new challenges to test you, and you'll always have to grow. Don't get me wrong, it's stressful sometimes, but it's a good stress, right? People think stress is bad, but there's good stress and there's bad stress, right? Good stress, eustress, I think that's what it's called. Good stress are things, you do and that are stressful for a very short period of time, but once you do them, you get this sense of fulfillment, right? And I love that feeling after I finish a project or solve a programming challenge. I just feel so good. Nothing can beat that feeling. So that wraps up my 5 reasons, but I actually have one more reason. Another reason why you should pick web development is that you don't have to rely on operating systems. If you are creating an Android application, right? Now, what are you going to do for iOS? Right, you'll have to learn an iOS language like Swift and do something with that. For Android, you'll have to learn Java or Kotlin. And if you create an app for Mac, you have to create an app for Windows, right? Now, there are frameworks that make this a lot easier nowadays, but the fact of the matter is you still have to do that, right? Because these are different operating systems, different platforms. But when it comes to web, it works on any device, whether it be a phone, tablet, laptop, desktop, anywhere. You just open up a browser, type that URL in, and boom, there it is, right? You have your app or your site, website or web app running. Especially with languages like JavaScript, which is my favorite language, by the way. You can actually create native mobile apps with libraries like React and React Native, and create desktop apps with Electron. So I think it's super cool to be able to create like mobile and desktop apps with a web language like JavaScript. So if you still don't want to be a web developer, I don't know what to tell you. Alright guys, so that's all the reasons I have for why you should become a web developer in 2018 and beyond. I'm probably going to title this video 2018 and beyond, even though it's like 2017, but it's the end, so it doesn't really matter. But let me know what you guys think. If you agree, let me know in the comment section below. But if you don't, still let me know in the comment section below so I can still hear other people's opinions out there, right? This is not a debate about who's right or who's wrong. It's more about what you want to do and what I want to do and what my opinions are and what your opinions are, and it's all that stuff going on. So it's not a big deal, all right? So just leave the comment section below, all right? And smash that like button if you're into that as well. But if you're not, that's okay. Click, it's just fine, all right? But yeah, that's it for this video. So we'll talk soon, I guess.